welcome to Harvesting Our Wellbeing as Educators. My name is Hugh.
I'm Maura.
Great to see you all this morning. And so we're now entering into a series of conversations. And this morning, we're delighted to have Mr. Alan Morgan. And Alan is an entrepreneurial specialist, and he is Program Director in Creativity and Innovation for Education with the Innovation Academy in UCD. We're delighted to have Alan. How are you, Alan?
Good morning, guys. Great to be here. Thank you.
Great to see you. So it's great to have Alan with us this morning. And our main theme again is talking about the well-being of educators. And the particular topic that we're looking at this morning is the topic of courage, which we'll be looking at with Alan along with aspects of well-being. So I'm going to hand you over to Maura, the next part. Thanks.
Thank you, Hugh. Alan, it's really lovely to have you here. John O'Donoghue's poem for courage is what we chose to underpin our conversation with. So would you like to read it for us?
Oh, I'd be delighted, Maura. Thanks for the invitation. And it's great to be here. And I love what you guys are doing. I think it's so important, so timely. So shall I go ahead, Maura?
Yes, please. Thank you.
For courage. When the light around you lessens and your thoughts darken until your body feels fear turn cold as a stone inside. When you find yourself bereft of any belief in yourself and all you know unknowingly leaned on has fallen. When one voice commands your whole heart and it is raven dark. Steady yourself and see that is your own thinking that darkens your world. Search and you will find a diamond thought of light. Know that you are not alone and that this darkness has purpose. Gradually it will school your eyes to find the one gift your life requires hidden within this night corner. Invoke the learning of every suffering you have suffered. Close your eyes, gather all the kindling about your heart to create one spark. That is all you need to nourish the flame that will cleanse the dark of its weight of festered fear. A new confidence will come alive to urge you towards higher ground, where your imagination will learn to engage difficulty as its most rewarding threshold. John O'Donoghue.
He says it so well, doesn't he? In light of John's words, Alan, what has it been like for you and how are you at this time?
Yeah, thanks for asking, Maura, and a beautiful poem to start off with. I mean, John O'Donoghue is somebody who's been introduced to me only in the last couple of years, and really very, very powerful and rewarding poetry, I would argue. I'm good. I think it's been a difficult time for educators in particular. I think it's just on a wider note. I think we're going through a very strange time. I don't think a lot of people know how to deal with what we're dealing with during this time of lockdown and pandemic. But I think taking a couple of words from John O'Donoghue's poem, and particularly the final paragraph, a new confidence will come alive to urge you towards higher ground. And I think that's maybe the point we're at now in where we are. I meet a lot of educators, as you know, on a regular basis through the program at the Innovation Academy, and both primary, secondary school teachers, and also third level educators, further education and training, and so on. And across the board, people are suffering. But I think it's understanding what we're going through is more important. Once you understand a problem, you can then find a solution to that problem or put something in place to, but it's understanding the problem where we are at the moment. I think what's really important to understand around that problem is things like what's important. And really the things that are important now are very much around self-care and resilience, well-being, and looking after each other, both as a family and as a family of educators. I look at my own household, and my wife Elizabeth is a primary school teacher. She's in special education, and our daughter Neve is doing her leaving cert this year. So just our household alone is, is filled with people working from home, dealing with children online. I'm teaching online. My daughter is being taught online, all at different levels in the houses and bedrooms and kitchens and attics. So very strange times. No one ever signed up for this, Maura. I mean, and Hugh, I don't know what your feeling about it is, but we didn't sign up for this as human beings, nor as educators. And but I think to understand where we are now, what we've gone through, and what the future holds is difficult, but is a place to hold, and we need to hold that understanding and take it forward.
That's really strong, Alan. You're talking about holding that understanding and that space. Do you think that education allows for that?
I think education is changing, and I think the attitudinal approach of educators and students is changing. I recently spoke with Valerie Hannon, who is an incredible international educational consultant, advisor to the OECD, etc., and she's a lady from the UK. She has a recent book that's just out called Thrive, and it's all about like schools and why we need schools, and schools are still important, because there's a lot of narrative around, oh, the leaving cert is finished and the CAO is finished and schools are finished and teachers need to change. And I think there's a fear factor there, Maura. I'll come back to your question, about education, but I think there's a fear factor about not knowing where we're going with this. I think education is changing. I think education needs to change. I pointed a book behind me, the New Education by Professor Kathy Davidson. Really interesting. She says that education, really in its current form, is the same as it was in the late 18th century, the 1800s, which was the classrooms set up, the desks in a row, the sage on the stage, and students being almost talked down to. Really, nothing has changed really there still from a structural point of view. So I think COVID-19 has been a catalytic change, and like every crisis brings an opportunity, guys. And I think we are on the cusp of an opportunity. And to hold, I talk about holding the tension. I think we're in a really interesting place at the moment where we're holding the tension to see what's going to happen next. I mean, every day is something different.
Yeah, I hear you. Holding the tension and that space to hold the tension. And then you said we didn't sign up for this. And I get that sense of anger for the human condition, or where, Alan, where, when you hold tension like that, it has the potential to go different ways. What is your wisdom around where we can go and honor what we're going through?
It's a really great question, Maura. So in the first instance, I permanently say this, we've gone through and we are still going through, probably in my lifetime, and speaking for myself, certainly, I don't know, it's just a craziest time I've ever encountered. In a more global societal perspective, it's probably, I'm saying the worst thing, but certainly the worst thing that a lot of people have gone through since maybe the Second World War. I hear people, older people talking about that those times and so on. So every opportunity gives us a crisis. So I think if we don't take learnings from what we've gone through, if we don't try to understand that what's happening is changing us, and can change us, but we need to take learnings from that change. And if we don't, it's a waste, more. If we've wasted everything, if we don't change.
Okay.
If we
Alan,
go back to the normal, and what is normal? If we go back to where we were, everything is wasted.
okay. A lot of what you're saying is around the head, and where's your heart in all this? How is this affecting your heart?
I'd say difficult. I'm struggling, definitely struggling. On different levels, personally, on different levels. You know, as a family, we're struggling. We're trying to get through work every day, my daughter's schools. You know, I am teaching in a different, totally different modality, and looking at a screen all day. How we work has changed, how we live has changed. So I'm really struggling in my heart, I would say, Maura, yeah. And you know, but I don't know, like I'm a very resilient person, and I say I'm struggling, but I have a beautiful home. You know, I've got a garden, and you know, so like, let's put things into perspective. You know, there are a lot worse people out there, people in worse conditions, and dealing with different things. But sorry, go ahead.
So you've spoken from the heart, and does that heart space fit into your understanding of the education model we have? Is there room for that? I mean, you talk about your beautiful home, and before we started this interview, you talked about go swimming in the sea and restoring the energy in your body. Is there a space for what you're doing personally to take care of your heart? Is there a space for that in education?
I think there has to be, Maura. I think we have to firstly recognize it, though, and I think you know, it's all fine talking about these things. And I spoke with a lady during the week. Last Saturday we had a presentation, and Dr. Julie Dunn from TUD, and she said to me, Alan, it's all fine. We have great intentions as educators. We have great ideas, but unless we can strategically align those ideas to change and affect policy, then we're all wasting our time. So I think we need to think in a different way, and I think we need to do more of this kind of thing. What we're doing here this morning, talking about this thing, putting it out there, bringing people together. One of the things that really, really amazes me, every time I talk to students in our class, primary school teachers, secondary school teachers in particular, about how they're feeling at the moment, they're all completely overwhelmed with what they're trying to do with their school children, probably dealing with family issues as well, working from home, homeschooling children, all that kind of thing. But I keep saying, well, what are you doing about it? What are you doing about it? And we have to keep asking that question. And, you know, I'm a great believer in chipping away at the wood. You keep chipping away, you'll eventually get to that center of the tree that has a meaningful archery to somewhere up in the higher echelons. And, you know, I listened to your interview with Malachy from Mullingar yesterday, and he had great insights into this as well. This whole area about, you know, about bringing these ideas forward in a more resonant way, and bringing to answer your question directly, we need to bring in more restorative practice. We need to bring in more self-care and resilience into curriculum across all elements of education. I'll refer to another book behind me, if I may, Contemplative Practices in Education, Daniel Barbazat. And I was introduced to Daniel Barbazat many moons ago. I actually met him at a conference in Ireland, you know, and wonderful ideas around embedding how we how to embed contemplative practices into education, but I'm not seeing it more in the Irish context.
This is really heartening. What you're saying is we need it, and you're saying it's starting with the conversations, the reflective spaces, and chipping away at the wood to get to the heart of it.
Absolutely.
Really powerful, Alan. Can I bring you back to John O'Donoghue's poem? Can you read it for us again in light of this inspiring conversation?
Maura, sorry, Alan and Maura, 1 second. I just can't help asking you this. You have an infectious energy, Alan. Despite all the difficulties and challenges we face, your energy and your enthusiasm is amazing. And I was just and listening to the rich conversation yourself and Maura is having. What energizes you in education? What gets you going? What gets you up? It's just a wonderful energy.
Well, thanks for saying that. But I mean, working with people like you and talking to people like you, I mean, you know, I said it to my wife this morning, you know, when Hugh Fitzmaurice and when Hugh and Maura call, I'm always here. You know, I think what you do is wonderful. I you know, if you ask my wife, she'll say to me, she'll tell you I'm just a permanent Duracell bunny. I suppose there's two elements to me. I've a great I've a great positivity for life. I've had a, you know, I've had a number of speed bumps, you know, in the last number of years. You know, illness and lots of other stuff and loss and that. And one of the things it's taught me is that, you know, every day is a beautiful day, and I say that regularly. You only have one day at a time. I mean, mindfulness is something I'm a big fan of, and I probably don't practice it enough as I should. But being in the moment and understanding how to be in the moment. We're all in the moment, but most of us don't understand how to be in the moment. My energy comes from I love my job. I'm privileged. I feel absolutely privileged to do what I do. I spent 20 years in the retail industry before I moved into academia about 10 years ago. And for 20 years, I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but I spent most of those 20 years fighting the corporate fight. And which, you know, when you compare it to what we do now, where we inspire students and students inspire us, it's just a privilege. And I think I get my energy from life, Hugh, you know. But if I could just add one thing before we go to that poem, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning this. So, you know, one of the big impacts that Harvest Wellbeing has had on students that I've worked with. So as you know, Hugh and Maura, you did some work with us last year, and with some of the students, just kind of introducing these concepts. But when I read back their reflective journals as part of their deliverables post-course, they all refer to Harvest Wellbeing sessions, the Harvest Wellbeing sessions, as a game changer, an absolute game changer. And I think that speaks volumes. And I think I just want to capture that energy and try to do something with it. And this is obviously the start of it now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. It's a joy sharing this time with you. Will you read John O'Donoghue for us?
I'd love to. Thank you, Maura and Hugh. For courage. When the light around you lessens and your thoughts darken until your body feels fear turn cold as a stone inside. When you find yourself bereft of any belief in yourself and all you unknowingly leaned on has fallen. When one voice commands your whole heart and it is raven dark, steady yourself and see that it is your own thinking that darkens your world. Search and you will find a diamond thought of light. Know that you are not alone and that this darkness has purpose. Gradually it will school your eyes to find that one gift your life requires hidden within this night corner. Invoke the learning of every suffering you have suffered. Close your eyes, gather all the kindling about your heart to create one spark. That is all you need to nourish the flame. that will cleanse the dark of its weight of festered fear. A new confidence will come alive to urge you towards higher ground, where your imagination will learn to engage difficulty as its most rewarding threshold.
Thank you.
Very powerful words.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. Thank you, Maura. I have to say, really rich conversation. Really enjoyed it. Admire your honesty, as I said, your energy, and I know you're at the cutting edge of education, entrepreneurial education, Alan, what you're doing, and like people like you are making a real difference. And thanks so much for joining us this morning. It's been brilliant. Thank you.
Well, thanks so much, guys. Always great to be here, and you're doing great work. Keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.